Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you once again for tuning into the African Reform Movement channel, where we discuss everything to do with African Reformation with an emphasis on Ghana. My name is Uche Noka. I'll be your guest for this afternoon. And again, we have the distinguished Dr. Nii Amudako, who will share with us his thoughts and visions about different ways in which Africa can take steps to improve itself and bring itself out of the ashes. Before we start, just want to let you know that Dr. Nii is on social media. Here's all his social media handles if you're new. If you don't get them now, don't worry, they'll appear on the YouTube channel along with all the other things I'm going to show you. So I just want to draw your attention to that. And also, please make sure you send in all of your questions to this chat room. We love hearing your questions, and Dr. Nii will answer all of them, or as many as he can, time permitting, okay? So all questions, use the chat function, and we'll put those to Dr. Nii at the end. Dr. Nii is also an author, and you can purchase his book at this address here. He's already spoken about some of the books in some of our earlier interviews. But like I say, if you don't get these details now, don't worry, they are all listed on the description page of his YouTube channel. If you're going to follow us on YouTube, please don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're notified every time a new video is about to drop, or when a new video is about to drop, so you can arrange your time to join us live. Okay, so without any further ado, we're going to go straight to Dr. Nii. And today we're going to be talking about reverse colonialism, an interesting topic. Dr. Nii, over to you. Break this down for us. What does that mean?
Hello, Uche. Thank you very much, and audience. I'm very glad you are with me today, another Saturday. Reverse colonialism. All right. We'll probably start from what is colonialism, because then it becomes a lot easier to talk about the other forms of colonialism. We're talking about the formal colonialism. We all know what that means, in the sense that all of us were born into previously colonized countries. So colonialism, basically, in the political sense, is when a foreign country goes to another territory, takes over the territory, establishes government in that territory to look after the indigenes of that territory. So it appears is a political arrangement, but it is not. It's an economic process with a political facade.
Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So colonialism is an economic arrangement with a political facade. Now, if you understand the history of Western economic development or industrialization, you realize that after the Industrial Revolution, things expanded exponentially. They were producing more things than they could consume, and because of that, they were needing more materials more raw material than they previously needed. So they had to find a place to get these raw materials, and they had to find places to go and sell their finished products. And that's what brought all these expeditions to every part of the world. So let's talk about African experience.
Mm-hmm.
So they came to Africa, and they found that there is the greenest and the most resource place on earth. So then they said, look, the population here is thick, but the production base is so small. Let's take the resources from here. Let's go and develop the resources and bring it back to them. Now, after the First World War, when a lot of Europe went down, they realized that it's not just that, but they actually need to have an external arm to their local economies. Mm-hmm. So they developed the colonies as the external arm of their local industry or their local economy. And that's how it was maintained after the Second World War. Then USSR, then Soviet Union, and America put pressure on United Kingdom and France that colonialism is a cousin of Nazism. If one has been uprooted, the other one is untenable. It must stop. So that's when decolonization started. It was actually largely pressure from America and the Soviet Union that this naked colonialism must end. So colonialism is an economic system with a political facade. It helped the colonial masters to fill the gaps in their home economies. Once we understand that, then we can understand what reverse colonialism means. because the previously colonized countries, now they also have their citizens in the former colonial masters countries. How do we also organize these citizens there for them to become the external arm of our local economy? How does the Ghanaian government organize Ghanaians in America, Ghanaians in England, Ghanaians in Australia, for them to become the external arm of the economy of Ghana back home? That is the key. And we understand why that is so important. First slide.
Oh, sorry, could you just say that last part again? You froze it, Dr. Nii. Just say that last part again.
Sorry, the first slide.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay. The first slide, okay.
No, that's the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first slide basically is reverse colonialism, the first stage of economic independence. Once we understand, Nkrumah said that the independence of Ghana was meaningless unless it was linked to the total liberation of Africa. Now, Africa is liberated, but the independence of Ghana is still meaningless. So that quotation was not actually correct in its totality, because the total liberation of Africa has not delivered meaningful independence to Ghana.
Right.
Political independence is meaningless unless it is linked with economic independence. And that's the path we are going to take today. This is the first step, reverse colonialism. Next slide. So the main concept here is capitalism, imperialism, colonialism, neocolonialism, and reverse colonialism. We know what capitalism is, okay? It's a system of capital made by capital for capital and of capital. For capital, by capital, for capital. It's rule of money. Okay. Now, when capitalism leaves its national frontier, it becomes imperialism. So imperialism is actually externally imposed capitalism on a foreign territory. When a foreign power gains control of a local, or when a foreign power, economic power, or whatever power gains control over another territory economically, that is imperialism.
Okay.
So when you say your imperial majesty, that's what you're admitting to, that this majesty is actually not my own majesty, it's an imposed one, it's an imperial one from somewhere else. But I've taken it because I accept that that person is, my country is that person's dominion. Colonialism, we talk about colonialism. Now, neocolonialism, Nkrumah defined it different from the way I see it, but we'll talk about the Nkrumah issue later, so we'll just leave that one. And I've explained what reverse colonialism is. Reverse colonialism, as far as I'm concerned, is former colonies trying to organize their people in the former master's place as the external economic arms of their local economy. So Ghana government organizing Ghanaians outside Africa as external arm of its economy. We are reversing the side, because you see, as we go, you see what it actually means in real sense. All right, next slide, please. I've put here something written by one of the greatest minds ever. You all know I'm anti-communist, right? But I like learning. I'm deadly anti-communist, but I like learning, because he thought about things deeply. I mean, sometimes he got a wrong solution, but he actually applied his mind. And he wrote a book in 1916, long before Ghana became independent. In fact, at that time, Ghana was only 7 years old. And he titled the book Imperialism, the Highest Stage of Capitalism. He looked at the world, because at that point in time, there were no independent countries. In terms of, it was only big powers and colonized countries. And he looked at the world beyond colonization. And he said, this was going to happen because after colonization, what will be the relationship between the previously colonized territories and their former masters? And this is what he came up to. He said there was going to be centralization of production. You're going to be amalgamation and mergers of producing entities so that they create monopolies. And then the second is they say a bank and industrial capital will merge to form finance capital. And then that will lead to finance oligarchs. And then they're going to have export of the finance capital to weaker states so that they gain global control. So he predicted at that time that we were going to have monopolies like we have Facebook now, we have Apple, we have all these. These are monopolies. They control the way we behave now. Facebook can ban you, YouTube can do this, Instagram can do that. He predicted that in 1916 that this is what the world will look like today. And they will decide what you hear, what you breathe, what you drink, what you do. They will decide that. But more importantly, bank capital and industrial capital will merge to form finance capital. Yes, we talk about the IMF, we talk about the World Bank, and then they will export, they will make money and export commodity. They will export finance capital to weaker nations so that they gain global hegemony. And by doing so, then they divide the world, the weaker part of the world, among themselves into spheres of influence. And that's where we are today. That's the globalization they are talking about. That's where this is what Lenin wrote. Because now imperialism, as I mentioned earlier, imperialism is when capitalism leaves its national frontier. And that's why it says it's the highest form of capitalism. Because capitalism used to be contained within the former colonial masters, their boundaries. But after colonization, after decolonization, well, they got to get back the old bastards. They have to get back the old colonies. And that's when imperialism became, or he said would become, the main thing. It will breach the national frontiers, and the mechanisms will be through monopolies and financial oligarchs. They will divide the world among themselves, like we are finding now. So the question is, how do you overcome it? Next slide, please.
Okay.
Well, in 1965, published a book which he called NeoColonialism in the Last Stage of Imperialism. All right. This will need a whole day discussion.
Okay.
So I just brought it up to show the link between, see, because he has linked neocolonialism to imperialism, and Lenin linked imperialism to capitalism. So basically, these are all the same schemes with one agenda: economic hegemony. Whether it's colonialism, neocolonialism, this and that, it's all aimed at one thing: to pin down the poor and take more from them to establish hegemony and perpetual control. Now, you all will understand that the key that you use to close your door is the same key used to open that door. So if there should be a way out of this, then that key must be another form of colonialism. And that's where reverse colonialism comes in. You see, we do not understand, but the white man understands that migration is an economic process. You see, if you've been to South Africa before, you understand that these Dutch, they were going to India and they stopped over in Cape Town. And what resulted is apartheid South Africa and the South Africa we have today. Because for them, moving out is an economic process. They move out so they could bring in. We haven't got that concept very well because we have failed to use that resource. And it's not just money, technology transfer. So many things that when we go out, our national government should be able to have been mobilized as to provide the services that the colonies provided to their colonial masters 50, 60, 70, 100 years ago. Reverse colonialism is the phase of economic independence. Next slide, please.
Sorry, before we go, are you able to touch on maybe like 2 or 3 points that Kwame Nkrumah made in this book?
Oh, that will have to be completely, believe you me, you see, because there are controversies.
Okay.
Yeah, they are a bit controversial. I mean, okay, he believed that after formal colonization has ended, the colonial masters will put in place numerous mechanisms to keep hold of, to still control the former colonies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And those mechanisms, he put them together and called it as NeoColonialism, a new form of colonialism. I disagree with that definition.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, that it's going to be a whole discussion. That definition is fatally flawed.
Okay.
So if I go into it now, I'll charge in a different way. So let's move on. I'll talk about this properly.
Okay, so you're going to come back and do a whole episode on this, yeah?
Yes.
All right, cool. That's fine.
So the question is, what is to be done? This is a question Lenin asks, burning questions of our movement, but here I've put our nation. The same Lenin asked this question in 1902 when he was in exile in Switzerland, like I'm in exile in Australia now, self-imposed exile. All right. What is to be done? I'm telling you today, the burning question facing Ghana and Africa, for that matter, is to neutralize finance capital. That is the only way we can retain or regain our sovereignty.
When you say neutralize it, sorry, when you say neutralize it, could you explain what you mean by that?
Neutralize means that we have to get out of the hold of World Bank, out of the hold of IMF, out of the hold of all those international finance institutions, because the monies they are giving us, we are not going to be able to pay. The condition attached to the money they give us, we cannot pay. So we have to neutralize finance capital completely so that we do not need it anymore. And we can do that.
Okay.
The burning question of our nation today is to neutralize finance capital. And reverse colonialism can help us do that. Next topic. Next slide, please. Is there any hope for us? You see, when you look at what Lenin wrote about over 100 years ago and where we are today and everything happening now, China is now in the mix too. Also coming with its own ploys for the same ends. Is there any hope? Can we stand them? Can we actually stand the forces arraying against us? Yes, there is hope for us. You see, where we are now, we are in such a big trouble that we need to dig deep and find practical solutions. See situations that are similar to us, that have happened in the past, and see what we can learn to move forward. And this happened to Israel in the about 700 before, what do you call that thing? 700 BC. This Israel in captivity. And they were crying and they were running around, don't know what to do. And the Lord spoke with Jeremiah the prophet in Jeremiah 31, 16 to 17. Thus says the Lord, refrain your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for your work shall be rewarded. And then and they shall come back from the land of the enemy. You see, if we believe that the enemy is finance capital, and finance capital is located in certain lands, and we are there, the Lord is saying that we shall come back from the land of finance capital, and for a good reason. There is hope in your future, says the Lord, that your children shall come back to their own border. Now, here, God himself did not say that I will send angels to come and deliver you. It says that there is hope because your children will come back into their own border. God himself linked the hope and the future reconstruction and prosperity of Judah to the children in the diaspora. Because when you go out, you are exposed to new things. When you go out, you're exposed to new skills. When you go out, you're exposed to new environment and new culture. And every culture has got something good about it. It is your business to let the good things where you go and bring it back to save your country. That's what Dr. Agri said. That if you should reincarnate, he's not going to come as a white man, but will come as a black man and teach his people the good things he has learned from the white man. That is part of reverse colonialism. God is saying here that there is hope because your children that are in the land of the enemy shall come back into their own border. If you are in the diaspora and you don't see yourself as part of the solution, you have failed God. And that is why there is hope for us. Okay. Those of us in my generation, we saw the best set of Ghanaian footballers. Best set, Mohamed Polo, Abdul Razak, Adolf Ama, Adai Chenchenhini, George Alansan, Opoku Afue. If we have the same set of players today, we win the World Cup. Today, if we had the same set of players, we win the World Cup. But they didn't even qualify for the World Cup. Now we have average players. But because they've been exposed and they've learned new techniques, a new strategy, and new coaching methods, they have qualified, I think, 3 or 4 times. These players, none of them were playing 1978. The solution, the salvation of Ghana's football, or the rise of Ghana football to global prominence was because of the diaspora. When we had the best talent possible, we couldn't even qualify. Because talent is not enough. To beat the world, talent is not enough. To beat the world, talent is not enough. We've had examples. Tetokwachu brought it from the diaspora. King Osetutu, who you made Ashanti, was in the diaspora in Akwamu, where he met Okonfanoche. Fidel Castro was in diaspora in Mexico. Even Nkrumah was in diaspora in America and the UK. We shall return into our own border. And because of that, there is hope in the future. Next slide, please. Now, this is a big one. So how do we neutralize finance capital? First of all, we have to know where our monies come from. From tax, from remittances, from exports, loans, aid, and grants, and then what I call the Joseph's rule. We don't know about that. That will be for another day.
Okay.
What I'm going to strike out completely is loans, aid, and grants. That is finance capital. Okay, that's going to go. We're going to make major tax reforms. You'll find it in the Whip North Africa, my manifesto on tax reforms in Ghana. And then the exports, all is there. But today, you're talking about remittances. Remittances being the basis of our economic independence. Okay. You see, the last time I've been writing this for a while, the last time I reviewed this particular article was, I think, 2013. And then it was reported in 2012 that remittances from abroad to by Bank of Ghana was $18.7 billion. For 1 year. That was almost half Ghana's GDP. So when I posted this on Facebook, then somebody said, oh, actually a friend of mine who works at the Bank of Ghana said the 18.7 actually included money remitted to foreign missions. So it's not just money from Ghanaians to Ghanaians, but money from foreign missions also go to the Bank of Ghana and it's part of it. So I asked her, how much do you think is actual remittances from Ghanaians to Ghanaians? There's maybe a third of that, so maybe 6 billion. So that's a lot because we don't get 6 billion from any IMF or any World Bank in a year. But the point here is that this money is consumption capital. Bulk of this money is consumption capital. That people send this money to relatives in Ghana for them to live on. And that is where the difference is. Consumption capital or investment capital.
Mm-hmm.
So now, reverse colonialism is a national effort, national program to actually mobilize citizens in foreign lands into an external arm of our economy. And by so doing, try to channel money that is sent to us for consumption into investment. And
Right.
then the investment will then pay off. Then the payoff will be given to relatives as consumption money. But this needs proper planning.
Yeah.
And no normal Ghanaian will give any money to any government there now, because only a moron will give a goat to the hyena for safekeeping. Nobody will do that. Because if in the money that they are collecting as finance capital, they are squandering it.
Mm-hmm.
But when we come with the plan, we're going to have Diaspora Investment Management Board with a chairman who will be directly. All right, next slide.
Okay.
Next slide. Good. So the reverse colonialism system. First, there will be a minister for the diaspora and ECOWAS. Then we're going to remove all restrictions on diasporans within 100 days in office. Then we're going to have Diaspora Investment Management Board. And then we have Diaspora Bank. Now, the Diaspora Bank will have two arms, an investment bank and a commercial bank. So, for instance, Ghana wants to make a 700 railway from Accra to Paga in the north, extreme north to Burkina Faso, and another one, maybe 1,000, 700 there, maybe 300 to or 200 to Togo and 200 to Ivory Coast or whatever. And it's going to cost $1 billion. Instead of going to IMF or World Bank, what we are going to do is that we flow this as shares to Ghanaians outside the diaspora.
Mm. Okay.
So we want Ghanaians to own Ghana. It's our country.
Mm-hmm.
We flow this as shares. Now, the Diaspora Investment and Management Fund will be populated by people in the diaspora. Okay? Now, the Minister for the Diaspora and ECOWAS will be directly positioned in the office of the Prime Minister, not the President, the Prime Minister.
Mm-hmm.
And this Diaspora Investment Board will be managed like the top level, because the diaspora will have people expertise that can do this. They will come and they will now set this one up, and then we flow the shares. One share is $100. So you buy 10 shares, $1,000. And
So
then
can I just check? Will the Bank of Ghana be done away with?
no.
Remain?
Bank of Ghana is for monetary policies. Okay,
Right.
Bank of Ghana is for monetary. This is an investment bank. This is for
Right,
investment in taking hold of investment in our country.
Okay.
So, Bank of Ghana will set our monetary policies, interest rate, Yeah, this one, instead of going to beg some other people, normal human beings like us, instead of going to beg them, we are going to use our own people to bring the money and invest, and they will manage their own money.
Right.
And the dividends will go to the commercial bank, and their relatives in Ghana can go and get their money and spend.
Okay.
So it must be a national program. And there are other things that I've been speaking about in terms of integrating the diaspora into our political culture. The other things I've been speaking about. Okay, for instance, what role would they play in the Council of State? What role would they play? All those are there because you know what? There is hope, because your children in the land of finance capital, in the land of the enemy, shall come back into their own border.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We cannot ignore that role that God said He is not going to come down. He's not going to send Michael or Gabriel to come down, but it's going to bring the children, the land of the enemy, to come back to their own border to give hope.
Yeah.
And this is the way we are going to neutralize. Once we neutralize finance capital, then we can say our country is in our hands. There are no Chinese can tell us any rubbish. Nobody can tell us anything. We plan, we invest, we reap the harvest, and we spend it in Ghana. And once you're able to do that, you know that our country on the way to proper sovereignty. And that's why I'm saying that the first stage of economic independence. The independence of Ghana is meaningless, or the political independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked with economic independence. The political independence, as we have it now, meaningless. Absolutely meaningless unless it is linked up with economic independence. And the first stage of economic independence is to mobilize the Ghanaians outside there as the external arm of our local economy. Look at what the Jews have done. Look at the power the Jews have using diaspora to protect and safeguard the interests of Israel at all times. And what are we doing? Complain, whinging, whining, complain, whinging, whining. There is no way you are going to get the benefits of those. You see, what we are forgetting is this. The countries we see as developed or are successful, we haven't done what they have done to be where they are. So we cannot be where they are. If you want to be where a successful country is, find out what that successful country did to get there and try and do it. We haven't done anything. So, I mean, I can talk about this the whole day. I wrote this, I think I wrote this the first time like 2000 or 2001. I've revised it with time. Eventually, I'm sure one day, it will come back as a book, just like Lenin did this. Because Lenin prophesied, he predicted what will happen, but he didn't give the solution. I'm not going to talk about the Nkrumah pit now, but what I'm saying now is that Lenin spoke about finance capital controlling weaker countries in the world, and that is happening right now. What is the solution? The solution is that just as 100,000 people controlled, 100,000 Brits controlled 300 million Indians at the time of Mahatma Gandhi, in the same way, 100,000 Ghanaians in America or 20,000 Ghanaians in UK can control a big chunk of the economy and bring it back home. How can 100,000 control 300 million people and we are not making use of our people in their country in a sensible and coordinated way? I just want to know. We've got to break and neutralize finance capital.
Thank you, Dr. Nii. That was wonderful. Thank you so much for that. Now let me see if we have any questions. Yes, we do. Okay. There's just mainly, but there's a question here. There's mainly comments, but I'll get this question here first. Neutralizing finance capital is a huge thing for Africa. Sadly, many African leaders who attempted that were eliminated physically and politically, or both. How do we do it effectively?
The simple truth is that Africans believe in rhetoric too much. Africans believe in rhetoric too much. As far as I'm aware, the one person who tried, he didn't even put it as though he was trying to neutralize finance capital, was Thomas Sankara. Okay, he was trying more to do with no corruption. His crusade was more about it was more an anti-corruption campaign, not so much neutralizing finance capital. And because of interest in Burkina Faso, because of other interests in Burkina Faso, he was eliminated. You see, Last time I read what Paul Kagame said, he said that Africans are begging for things they already have. And this is total, if I say absolute failure of mindset. And this is one of the things, we already have the money.
Mm-hmm.
We already have the money sitting there. We are just consuming as consumption money. Instead of thinking big, because I said we need people with correct mindset, instead of thinking big about how to change this money that comes in as consumption into investment and then dividends, no, rather run quickly and go and beg. So coming back, this can be done very, very effectively. The message will have to go there. The message will have to sink in. More importantly, leaders who have proven not to be corrupt are the only ones who can do this. Because nobody, no normal person will give his money to those people there now. Anywhere in Africa at the moment, anywhere. Because whatever they have even collected from finance capital, they have squandered and they've misused them. That's why we can't pay anything. So it could be done. And don't worry, Lady Shiga, nobody will eliminate me. I'll die at my tower.
Amen. We have a similar question from Lara B. Collins. There has been pressure from both internal and external on African leaders who try to control or neutralize finance capital in Africa. How do you go about this pressure? I think it's how do you handle this pressure, etc., etc.
Yes, okay. Yeah, I'm not too sure about this pressure. You see, the point is this. What people have forgotten is that during Kutu Achampon's time, Kutu Achampon, because he said Yentua means won't pay the debt you owed. He wasn't given a loan from outside. For 6 years, there was no loan in Ghana, and Ghana didn't collapse. I mean, Ghana struggled, but it wasn't the end of the world. What I'm saying is this. We haven't put in a mechanism, a sustainable mechanism to have enough money to push people away. Magufuli in Tanzania did not collect money from anybody. Okay. The point, as long as you are doing the right thing, and you put a system in place, they will know that if they eliminate you, they can't eliminate the system. So there is no pressure from anywhere that will stop a government doing the right thing for its people. Singapore has done it. Malaysia is struggling, but they're also doing it. So let's not look at people, people talking around all over the place without doing actually. If somebody will tell me what any Ghanaian leader actually did to put down to neutralize finance capital, I would like to know. None. It's not written anywhere. You see, because we believe so much in easy way of doing this. Oh, let's go and low. Oh, yeah, Kafodidi. Kafodidi in tree means the data also eats. So what is it? Yeah, I mean, let's go and get more money and see what we can do. People will be bragging about loans granted them in parliament as if it's free money. That's the mindset. Rotten. Absolute failure of mindset. So, guys, don't worry too much. What I'm saying is this. It is our national responsibility to mobilize Ghanaians outside Ghana into the external arm of our economy. And that will neutralize finance capital. And nobody can tell us not to do that.
Okay, I'm just going to go through some of the comments, not questions, just comments. Or there's one question here. Loretta Arieti asked, who is the author of this book? I'm not quite sure what book you're referring to. So if you can pop it back in the chat box to be clear which book you're talking about. And Dr. Nii should be able to tell you what it is.
I'm sure she's talking about the reverse colonialism. Well, I'm the author of that pamphlet. I have it, 3,000 words. I can forward that to you, Loretta.
Okay.
But the eventual book will bear the same title.
Another comment here from Waki Asamoah Boateng. Deep intellectual thoughts.
Thank you, boss.
Let's see here. Florence says laudable ideas, and she also says thinking outside the box, not business as usual. Absolutely.
Frema, you know, this lady was my first deputy, right?
Your first
Was the
deputy, what do you mean?
first deputy president of ARM.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. She was, I think she was 1 year my engineer in university or something like that. Yeah. So an old-time friend.
Excellent. Okay. Shika's posted another comment here. Ankara wanted to, oh, sorry, she means Sankara wanted to be self-reliant away from dependency on France.
Yes. Yes. You see, Sankara believed, you see, when you saw the source of finance, I wrote taxation, I wrote remittances, I wrote exports, I wrote loans, finance capital, and then I spoke about the Joseph's rule, which I'll discuss later. Now, Sankara believed that he could mobilize internal revenue to move forward without depending so much on France. Now, it's a very tricky thing because you see, the relation between, I'll probably have to have another talk about the relation between France and the Francophone countries. It's very, very complicated. Okay. But Sankara, if he were alive today, he would do it slightly different. You see, because power is power. Power is power. Okay. And there's a way that you can do, you know, there's a way that you can do things without attracting so much attention. You feel it within yourself that what I'm doing is too risky. You know. I know sometimes when I'm saying things, I know things which are very risky. And then I try to say them because I'm tired. But I know that. So I think Sankara, yes, wanted to do something, but yeah, I'm sure it would have gone around slightly different. And secondly, Ghana is the model country, is the model state. The capacity of Ghana to do those things far outweigh any other country, as far as I'm concerned. You know, Ghana is completely different from, you know, what we can do as a people united and being led properly would be amazing. If in 2012 we could remit $6 billion. I mean, it was said 18.7, but my friend at the Bank of Ghana told me, or only maybe 1/3 maybe from Ghanaians to Ghanaians, the rest will be for machines and other things like that. So if we could mobilize $6 billion in 2012 for that size of the land, and at that time we were about 20 million or whatever, we can go a lot. If this money is channeled into investment and then dividends then go to people to chop. Because one bank has never given us more than $1 billion in a year before.
Right.
200 million, this and that, you know. And then our people chop the money, so it becomes debt to us. This is our own money. If we decide that we are going to build this, you're going to do this, we float it there. We float it there, the money comes, whatever you contribute, you get your share, your dividend. You know, what I'm saying is the shell, you know, but the content will have to be planned properly. But the idea is that we can neutralize finance capital.
Yes. Okay. And then just give you the last comment by Larry Collins. That's a great show of confidence in a new system to come. The new system sounds wonderful. The new system definitely sounds like it's a way forward. Definitely. Even with the little I know about politics, I know that what you're saying, obviously there's got to be a way to roll it out. It's got, you know, there's a structure that you're going to use to roll it out, but it will work. It sounds like this is the way forward, not just for Ghana, but for other African countries who are probably in the same kind of situation and want something different, but aren't sure how to go about getting that something different. They need to listen to what you're saying. They need to listen to your ideas and see about implementing their own countries as well. That's what I think.
Yeah.
You
know, it's our time now. Let me put it that way. Africa must rise up. Okay?
Yes.
It's enough. It's really, really enough. everybody is talking us down. And they are not racist for talking us down. We are not doing the right things. They're not racist. We are just not doing the right thing. Dr. Agri said that the African is quite happy to copy the wrong things of the white man, but never the hard work and the good things of the white man. That's what Dr. Agri said 100 years ago. I didn't say that. And we are doing we know we are doing the wrong things.
Now you're talking about governmental level, right?
At governmental level. But you see, the government is from the people.
Mm-hmm.
The government and the members of the government, they are not from Mars or any other planet. So they are from the people, and they come to government to government with the same mindset.
Yeah.
And
we had this conversation, we
did have. And instead of leading, they put them into a ditch.
Mm-hmm.
We just have to do the right thing. I don't want to assume people don't do the right thing. I think they do, but because of personal interest, they decide to sideline the right things. I mean, it's just unbelievable what is going on. But it's time. I think it's time. Something will have to happen.
Yeah.
We've got to put system in place.
Yeah.
And this is one of the systems. And the first stage in our economic independence, the political independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked with economic independence. And this is the first stage. Come on, reverse colonialism.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nii. Again, powerful vision casting there. For all of you who tuned in to join us, thank you very, very much. But as my constant request is, please share these videos with your friends, with your networks, your people, your friends on Facebook, Twitter, whatever social media platform you have. Please share these videos on there so they can see the conversation that is taking place and they can also join in the conversation. I'm sure, like many people, are thinking, what can we do for our country? How can we take our country from where it is to where we know it has the potential to be? Let them hear these teachings and let them be a part of the conversation. Share this word, share this video, share it on all your social media platforms. And let's get more of them in here to join in and to ask questions and to speak to Dr. Nii, so they'll know that there is hope. It's not a hopeless situation. So that's everything from us. Thank you so much. Join us again Saturday, 12 noon London GMT with another powerful topic. Once again, Dr. Nii, thank you so much for your time and sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you, Uche. Thank you very much.